Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. We continue bi'idhnillahi ta'ala our short overview of the book Zukhruf al Qawl by Shaykh Fahd al Ajlan and Abdullah al Ujairi. Zukhruf al Qawl, beautified but poisonous speech. Ya Abdullah, Ya Amat Allah. They move on to article number 12 and 13, inshallah, entitled, where people mention slogans they use. Focus on the core and not the crust. Brother, you are focusing on the crust. Rather, you should focus on the core, they would say. Focus on the priorities and not the finer details. Beautiful slogans. We state, firstly, everything in our Shariah, everything in our deen, it is important. Our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us a complete, comprehensive way of life. But yes, we do acknowledge that some matters are more important than others. We acknowledge that, no doubt about that. There is a hierarchy with regards to matters. We agree that the order to eat your food with your right hand is not on the same level as the order to pay zakah or the order to perform salah 5 times a day. They are on different levels. We acknowledge that. But we also state everything in our deen is important, walhamdulillah. We also find that some they use these slogans, focus on the core and not the crust, focus on the priorities and not the finer details. They use these slogans to decrease religious commitment amongst the people. They want you to do away with many matters. They would state that you are focusing on the hijab and you are talking about the hijab, brother. You are still talking about salah in jama'ah. You are still talking about the matter about free mixing and why we shouldn't, etc. You are busy ordering people to do good and prohibit the evil, etc. These matters, dear brother, they are the crust. They are the finer details. You should focus on the bigger matters, the more important matters. You should focus on oppression and zulm and poverty and hunger and education, etc. You should focus on corruption. You should focus on these matters. So that's what the brother says. He uses these slogans, focus on the core, not the crust. Focus on the priorities and not the finer details. And he makes little of many of these matters that we mentioned. We find that in reality there is a pattern that any ruling that he or she does not fancy, does not like, then they would respond and say, well, this here is from the crust. This here is from the finer matters, the finer details. Let's put this on the side and let's focus on the bigger matters. That's what they would say. We would respond and we say, definitely the matter of world hunger and poverty, education, corruption, etc. All of these matters they require our addressing. They require people dedicating resources towards the solutions with regards to these matters. No doubt about that. But stopping people from talking or advising about the hijab and free mixing and music, etc., etc., telling them not to talk about this here is not going to solve the problem of world hunger and oppression and education and corruption. It's not going to solve that. Right? People go on holidays, people play games, people enjoy themselves in sport, people get married, people have kids, etc. Do we go around and saying to all of these people, how can you go on a holiday, focus on world hunger? How can you have sport and enjoy sport, etc., focus on education and corruption, etc.? That's not going to work. It doesn't work like that, right? We also say to these people throwing around these slogans that you yourself, how much of dedication and focus have you given to these matters, to world hunger and corruption and education? How much of attention have you given to these matters? You want others to stop doing X, Y, and Z and focus on them. How much have you focused on them? And the reality is that these are mere slogans that they use as excuses. Allahu musta'an.